All right, yo. Welcome to this podcast. I don't know, we don't have a name yet, so it is a podcast. That's all I can say. But welcome to you. We didn't do any introductions last time, but let's do the formal. We know each other. For those people watching, we know each other. So these introductions are purely for you. I'm Sid. Priyam, do you want to introduce yourself?
Who's Priyam? Sorry.
I don't know. I heard of some guy.
Hey, I'm Priyam. I guess we were back in college together and have been friends ever since. And that's true for all of us here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tambi?
Yeah, my name is Tanvi Shaligram, and yeah, all of us have been friends for 12 years now, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
12 years.
I think we're a
Yeah.
group of 12 who have been friends for 12 years.
Friends for 12 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
So
set
just
of
in case I run out of friends, I have a few in the back. It's fine.
Group of 12.
Sudeep.
yeah. So hey guys, this is Sudeep. And yeah, I've known Sid since what second year, third year, right, of engineering. Yeah, it's been more than 10 years. Yeah, more than a decade. And yeah, we were
Yeah.
a set of 6 guys and 6 girls. In the undergrad, and then group kind of divided, kind of.
Mostly
Yeah, because
chemical
half of you
engineering.
idiots chose to go to the US, so it's not exactly our fault.
Yeah. But yeah, it's great ways we're still connected, and it's great that you came and visited us last year. So yeah.
Yeah. Just so everyone knows, I have been the only one who has gone and visited them. Not a single one of these idiots has come to Australia. just to get it on the record. Anyway, so I guess we can jump right into it. What we did want to talk about in this podcast, and the reason we want to start doing these is so instead of just catching up when we're on video calls, we actually talk about stuff like we used to when we used to meet in person. Back in undergrad, we used to have these really long conversations when we had sleepovers or when it was somebody's birthday party and we were just chilling or something like that. Or we were at college, and as things happen, we have time between the morning and the evening, especially during exams, and we just had time to talk, and things used to naturally get discussed, which doesn't happen as much anymore. So let's find a new way to make it happen. It was a good thing.
Yeah.
So today we wanted to talk about technology, and more specifically, it's how it has changed social interactions in general, right? Like when we were in undergrad, like WhatsApp was new. WhatsApp was like uh, brand new at that point. I think we were the first generation who actually started using it. Uh, then it became so prevalent that it's everywhere now. Like businesses are WhatsApp. In India, especially, we know that you can send money on WhatsApp. It's very much becoming a super app.
Yeah.
But before all of that happened, social interactions used to be people making friends in real life and then moving that friendship over into the digital world. And for some reason now it feels like it's a little bit of the opposite. Like even when I talk to people who are in school or who have just finished college or something, and they tell me that, oh, even when they were in undergrad, they used to find all these clubs and social meetup groups or something, and they used to find people there and then go meet them in real life when there was an event. So it's kind of changed the whole flow of how people get to know each other. What do you guys think?
I still think it's still the same to a very large extent. Like 90%, I still believe like you meet you become friends in person first, and then you move it to social media. And but yeah, that's true. Like some of the friendships do start on social media. Like basically, let's say I see someone post on Tanvi's Instagram or on Sudeep's Instagram, and then I like their work somehow, like the good photography. I would just go, maybe like with respect to that, with respect to similar hobbies, maybe that's how it would start. But largely, I still think it starts in person, even now. Uh,
Yeah.
but 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 that it's true that in person it might be a 5 minute introduction, but later on, like then it's all social media. Then I might
Yeah.
not meet that person ever again, but I will know everything about that person through their social life.
Yeah.
And that
I
has
think
definitely happened with some of Tanvi's friends. Like I met them when I was there, and now I know them through Instagram. So
Yeah,
sorry, Tanvi,
it
you were
also
saying something.
happens the other way around, right? Like, like you've seen some people in your friends, like Insta stories, and then when you meet them in person, it's like, oh, like I know you, but this is
Yeah,
the first time I'm seeing you in person. And I think
yeah.
there's a flip side to it also. Like, it depends. I think it also depends on the kind of person that you are. Like, if you're an introverted person, then it's probably harder for you to go out and make friends on your own. And I've seen like a few friends of mine who have Bumble BFF. Like now Bumble has
Mm,
like a friend side to it, right? Like you can make friends through the app. So there's a few people who
yeah.
use that versus if you're extroverted or if you live in like a big city, there's more chances to go out and meet new people at like different places. So I think that's also happening. And then if you're a creator or if you're very active on Instagram, like myself, like I've made a lot of like not friends, but like people that I regularly talk to. I've made a lot of acquaintances like that solely through Instagram. So there are people that I talk to in DMs, people I've never met in real life, but I love their work. I follow them, and then we talk in DMs. So I think that's also like a very new thing.
Yeah, it's a great icebreaker, isn't it? When you already know their work. When you're trying to talk to a stranger, you want to find a common thread. But then if you already are familiar with their Insta profile or their social media, then you know what they like. You know what they
Yeah.
dedicate their time to. So it's easier to start a conversation, I think.
So yeah, for me, the way I am as a person, right? I feel even if you meet someone online, right, or if you meet someone in person, right, I feel that for me, the strength of friendship builds when you actually meet in person. That's what I believe in. That's what I favor. Sure, technology does help us to stay in touch with those already acquainted friends, right? Uh, I mean, first you have to build that foundation of friendship. That is, I feel, uh, is done in a better way when you meet in person. But then after that, you can of course stay connected through FaceTime or WhatsApp or
Social
Instagram, whatever
media.
it is, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, but the yeah, I feel it's necessary to meet in person. You can
Yeah,
you can
Sudeep,
grab a
what you
drink
talked about.
together or a coffee together or a
Yeah,
dinner together, right? So
just spending
but
time together, right? Like
yeah,
just doing
look at how
something.
great friends we are, right? Like we are being so formal. Sorry, you go ahead. Otherwise, in person, fuck off, man. Let me talk. Who cares what
Well,
you
in
think?
person, Sudeep never gets to talk anyway, because
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Cause that always causes problems once he starts talking.
we know what's gonna come out of his mouth, so we
yeah.
we cut it at
It's
the bud.
it's either a diss at Mugdha.
That was also the reason I wanted to split this. I didn't want everyone
I'm
in on
glad
the
she's
same
not here. I'm glad she's not here. Yeah,
Oh my God, this is now in a podcast for everybody to listen to. Oh
You
my
know
God.
Mugda's gonna say this, right?
yeah.
Sudeep, you're gonna die eventually.
I'm glad I'm a few continents away from her. Yeah,
You're only one big ocean away from her, not few
One big
continents
ocean.
away.
that's,
She is actually in Adelaide, so I should be careful what I'm saying. She's here. She got here. She'll be getting here today. So
Well,
Oh,
you won't post it today itself, so you're fine.
yeah, yeah. I'll
take
wait.
take
I'll
take
wait
That's
as
until
true.
she
much
goes
time
back
as
to
you want
Brisbane.
editing this video. Yeah.
Yeah, but like coming back to what Sudeep said, right? I completely agree with him because the friends that you make on social media, those are like, I feel like they stay on social media. I don't know if they'll
Hmm.
ever be like how you guys are my friends. It's going to take a very long time for those kind of people to reach that level. And I don't even know if it'll ever happen. But I think people that you meet in real life first and you have that bond already, and then it's easier to stay in touch via
Hmm.
social media like FaceTime or video calls and things like that, because you know each other, you have that bond,
Yeah.
that friendship,
Yeah.
versus if you meet someone solely like online. I don't know
Yeah.
how
Yeah.
strong
Because
of
I,
a
I don't know
friendship
if you've
that is.
had this before where, sorry, I don't know if you've had this before where you have a really good connection with someone on social media, but then when you meet in person, you're like, oh, this is not the way we usually interact. So there's
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
new kind of ice that needs to be broken where,
Yeah.
oh, how do I talk to this person in real life? Like, I can't, type out my message and then remove it and then send another one. I have to kind
Yeah.
of just talk.
Yeah. In
True.
So
someone
it's a
else's
very,
Yeah, in someone else's work, they are your colleagues, not your friends. In a
yeah,
way.
in
In a
some
way.
ways, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
But then you talk to them about everything,
Yeah.
right, Tanvi?
Yes.
Like even the people you just meet on social media, you'd still talk to them about stuff that you might not necessarily discuss with your colleagues. But still,
It
when you meet in
depends
person, it's
because
like,
it depends on like what you connected on. Like if, for example, if I love makeup and there's another content creator who loves makeup and now we've connected on that, sometimes it's difficult to talk about anything other than the common
Yeah.
liking that we have. Like it's
True.
like most of the times we might just talk about that common thing, right? And so it
yeah,
doesn't happen as often that you end up talking about something completely different. But I feel like if they're very similar to you, like if you think you can be like a friend with them, then it might be easier to also talk to them about things that maybe you don't talk to other people about. It
But
kind
the,
of depends.
but then at that point, you're taking that conversation offline. You're going to meet that person. Then it's not social
Yes.
media. So,
Yeah,
And
exactly.
because I feel we've been
yeah.
friends since a very long time, right? And when Priyam was visiting a couple of weekends ago, right? I mean, we were just talking pretty late into the night, right? And same thing yesterday when I was at Tanvi's and Vikram's place, right? Same thing. We were talking until 2 o'clock, just talking, right? After our dinner, right? So yeah, it's the topics never end, right? So
yeah.
because we have a pretty big history, and we know we have a lot of common things, right? And we are connected with a lot of people as well, right? Either in our past life or in present life. So I think that it's just a very easy icebreaker. You can just talk about anything that you want.
And we otherwise would never be able to stay friends. Like
Yeah,
if it weren't for
exactly.
social media, I think
Yeah.
we would definitely lose touch if we were writing physical mail to
And
each
you have
other.
to also make
Not,
efforts to
yeah, not
stay
physical
friends.
mail. Like, we used to hang out all the time when we were in college. So that was a different friendship. And now this is a
Mm.
different friendship altogether.
Yeah,
This is
Yeah.
Mm.
it's a
like
more mature form of friendship.
mature form of friendship, but I'm very sure the friendship we had back then was much closer than what we have today.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah,
Yeah.
Like even
Yeah, because we were
if we are not
physically.
going to acknowledge that,
Yeah.
I'm still going to go out and say that.
No, I think we
yeah,
can acknowledge it.
Yeah,
Like it's true, right? Like,
yeah,
it does happen. Friendship, I think the best kind of friendship is born out of boredom. When you're actually bored together and you have nothing to do and you're physically in the same place, you automatically end up talking to each other and you automatically end up cracking jokes. And it's the vibe
yeah.
that
Yeah.
really helps with the friendship. It's not what you say, it's not what you do. You
yeah.
can
And
you
the
can
thing is
be
that
on
yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
you can be on like the most perfect curated friendship date or whatever, and you might not end up becoming friends.
Yeah.
But if you're just there and
Yeah.
you're bored and you're cracking silly jokes, like and that's 90% of what we used to do, right? Like we're just together in the same place and there's silly jokes happening and that's it. And that's how you become friends. Like it's
Yeah.
there's no agenda there.
No,
Yeah.
but like you brought up Bumble BFFs and everything. Like I really want to ask this question. Is it really possible to be friends through Bumble? Like,
So there's a different function, right? For dating, there's a
yeah, yeah,
different for
but
Yeah, yeah, but I think
do
we
you
need to
know
ask
success
someone who's
stories like they are
done that.
friends out of Bumble, or like I think even Tinder has, like I know Tinder is a wrong platform altogether,
Example.
even Tinder has
Tinder can
it.
For
never come up with
friendship, you mean?
the
Like not
BFF
a
thing.
wrong platform in
Not,
general.
yeah. But like, does anyone know success stories like these things happening?
Yeah, I went out with a girl once, and she, because she was new to the area, right? She made a few friends over through Bumble BFF thing. But yeah, I mean, it does work for some people. For me personally, I don't think I'm gonna ever try it. Uh,
Wait,
I
you
prefer.
went on a BFF date or you went on a date?
I went on a date with a girl, and she
Huh.
was sharing her
Oh,
experience of meeting friends over Bumble date.
got it, got it. Oh, okay.
Yeah, but personally, I wouldn't prefer that. I mean, I would rather meet someone organically, rather within a who, if the person is a mutual friend, right? That'd be great, right?
Hmm.
Is you just
I
meet at a
think, but
party or a
Sudeep,
meet
I
at an
think that
event.
works for people who are able to talk to other people, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
you
true.
are a person who's able to just meet someone at a party and then you can
Yeah,
start a conversation with even like a stranger. Like if you meet someone at your friend's party, you will be
yeah,
able to start a conversation. But there's people who are very introverted. So
yeah,
when
true,
they're
true.
sitting in a party, they're mostly just listening to other people.
Yeah,
And if they want to make friends, like it's difficult, right? Even if they have 20 people sitting in front of them, it's difficult for them to go up and talk to other people. So I think they prefer meeting someone one on one,
yeah,
and then maybe they get that through like platforms like Bumble
true,
BFF.
true, true. That is
I
true.
don't know. Like I don't think any of us are like introverted, so we might not have that experience. But it would be
Yeah,
nice to speak to someone who has met someone like that and is still
So
friends with
I
them.
have had an experience where I've met someone online, and this is not through Bumble or something, but I don't know if you guys have heard of an app called Meetup.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. I've heard about it.
yeah.
Yeah,
Meetup's
so
really cool.
Meetup is kind of,
Yeah,
yeah,
Meetup is
it's
cool.
it's the same idea, right? You're meeting people through shared interests, which I like, and I've made some really good friends on Meetup. I had so while I was
Nice.
back in Canberra, I had a very nice group of people who enjoyed philosophy. So I have never studied philosophy, in education wise or something academic pursuit,
Yeah.
but I enjoy philosophy as just ideas that you talk about, ideas that are abstract. And this was a nice group, and we actually called it just fireside chats.
Hmm.
And we used to
Nice.
get together. Somebody used to introduce a topic, maybe share one YouTube video about it, and then you just go around and you talk. And I made some really good friends through that. Like there's some obviously the meetup group had like 30 people. I'm not great friends with all 30 of them, but there's like 5 6 people who I really did become good friends with, and we used to go out for dinner outside. And it it's you're still right, like it's not the kind of friendship that we share.
Yeah,
It never really translated into that, but it was still a good friendship. Like it was
Hmm.
people who I think I could just ring up over the weekend and say, let's go out for dinner, and that's about it, right? Like that's still the way the friendship starts. And maybe if I had stayed back there and we had been friends longer, it would have just grown eventually. But
mm,
uh, I think there is that possibility for people to become good friends, but it's about how you meet. And you
Yeah,
guys know this, Rand. I don't. Yeah.
no, but like if you take Meetup, you're meeting because you're going to do a specific thing, you have a specific interest for which you're going to meet up, like those people.
Mhm.
So, like, there's some, and it's not like you're not going out there to become friends. You're meeting up with other people to just do an activity together. But like with all of these online, like these dating sites, which are like becoming friends side, all of these, their goal is to become friends.
Mm.
It's not
I
to,
don't know if that's true, because I think even on Meetup, the shared interest is really just a method via which you become friends. Most of the people I met through that,
Yeah.
if you ask them why they were actually interested in the event, which we were trying to do, when we were trying to grow the group, we asked people who
yeah,
used to come for the first time, why are you interested in this group? And they used to be like, oh, I'm just interested in making friends. And this seemed to be like a great way to do that. So
yeah,
they,
exactly. Yeah.
yeah,
So like that's a great way because you're doing an activity together. Like
yeah,
the sole purpose of the Bumble BF, like I'm going off of on Bumble, no, nothing against Bumble, but that's the only word that comes to my mind. But
hmm,
the sole thing is you are meeting the other person to just be friends. There's no,
yeah.
and
That
like
seems like a
there's
lot
no,
of pressure, isn't it?
yeah, it's a lot of
Is
pressure.
is your guard down? Is your guard down when you're just meeting someone to become friends?
I don't know.
I
Yeah, I
also
really
think,
don't know.
but Pethe, like I feel like when we became friends, right? We all became friends very organically. Like maybe I became friends with someone and then that person introduced me to you, or that's how all of us met. That's how like all of us have been
Yeah,
together for so long. I feel like we've become friends even though we're very different people. We come from like different types of schools, different backgrounds, but we're still together. Versus now, if you go on that app with the sole intention of making a friend, to an extent you would still look for someone who has similar interests or is like you,
mm,
someone you can connect with. I feel like all of
yeah,
us, we came from such different, like different lifestyles, different backgrounds, but we're still good friends regardless of that. So there was something that we connected on. It wasn't necessarily like a shared interest, it was something else. And I think that happens only organically. Like that's just my opinion,
mhm.
but I feel like that happens very organically.
Right? You're
Pere,
just
You're
at the
right. Like,
same place at the same time, going through the
no, Priyam,
same
not just that. Like, it
problems.
was there were like 100 other people there at the same place at the same time, right? But
Yeah,
we didn't end up becoming good friends with all of them. We
right.
kind of
Yeah,
there was something which I am not sure how we define.
yeah,
But maybe that's the X factor in friendship, right? Like, you just I personally call it vibe. Like,
yeah,
our
yeah,
vibes just matched, and I
yeah.
was
And you
like,
can't
yeah,
find that in like through social media. You have to do it in
yeah,
person, like Sudeep said.
yeah.
So,
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely,
And I feel like today, everybody, like because of social media, everybody has very, very strong opinions. And that's not necessarily a good or bad thing, but we've come to a point where if someone gives us an opinion that we don't necessarily agree with or like, it's going to be hard for us to be friends with that person. Like
yeah,
if you're trying to make new friends, not with your existing friends, you can always have like good arguments and discussions about it on
yeah.
on your different opinions. But I feel like with people that you meet on platforms like Bumble, BFF, that might be a bit difficult.
So
sorry,
I
here's
actually,
I'm going to jump to a different topic here, but like you said, like people have strong opinions, right? So, do people have strong opinions or do people just want to be politically correct because of the social media pressure?
I feel like people are more politically correct on social media, but the same people might have different opinions when you meet them in person. I think that's also
yeah. So their social media persona is different than how they really are, right? So yeah,
Yeah, and so I think that builds into why you can't become friends first on social media because it's a persona.
yeah.
It's
It's not
not
the
the
real,
actual
the
you.
real you,
Yeah,
right? Yeah,
it depends though. Like some people are very candid, but you can't tell unless you meet them in person. You
mm,
can't differentiate between someone who has a separate persona on social media versus someone who's like that in real life also. So
yeah,
yeah, they
because
could be different.
on social media we're always wary of. Sure, we can become friends on social media eventually, but when a stranger like DMs you or something, your first instinct is to be wary of, oh, what does this person want? Like, is this actually a real person? Which is always my first thought. Like, is this just a bot? In real
yeah,
life, some of those filters kind of go away, right? Like,
reminds me of dating on like swiping left and right on Tinder or any of these dating sites.
Yeah.
You knew exactly, but at one point you know, like this is a bot.
Yeah, exactly. Like 10 messages down, you're pretty sure, which might not be true in like 2 years, but for now
Yeah,
at least,
yeah,
10 messages down, you can be fairly sure.
that's true. Yeah,
Uh, yeah,
Are bots that common
10,
on dating apps?
yeah, very,
Yeah.
very
yeah,
common.
yeah,
Yeah, but
yeah.
no, I don't think 10 years. Maybe in the next few months.
Oh yeah,
GPT-4,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
for the next few months, bro. 10 years is a long time.
It's yeah. It just goes to show I haven't been in touch with what's going on. Oh my god, on the bot end.
It's a different story down under.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
And
We have just as many bots here.
Meta came out with a new one, which is apparently really good. The Llama, I forgot what it was, but Llama something, but that's like
LlamaNet.
really good. Yeah. I'm not sure what version it is, but Llama something.
LlamaNet was, I think, originally Stanford, and it was supposed to be the first open source
Hmm.
LLM. Anyway,
Got
I
it.
wanted to take this conversation to so a few days ago, uh, you guys know Amir, right? He was down here, and we were talking about how kids actually start making friends now. So in India, our school life was kind of different. Like, I don't know about you guys, but I had a lot of freedom when I was at school. Like, I used to, for one, going to school, coming back, sure, but after I come back home, uh, I can just go out and I can play with my friends. And I used to do that until, I don't know, I had to do homework or something. That experience of when you get home, you have friends from school, you have friends from home. And then when you get home, you can just go out and spend time with your friends. And that's how you become better friends. And a lot of times it was just because, oh, there's people who live nearby, there's people who live on the same street, and that's how you become friends. But nowadays, when kids actually and this is just because of the way the technology is. Like, I'm sure if we had this option, we would have taken it. But when kids get home, their friends from school all jump online and they're playing Fortnite or they're playing Dota or they're playing some game where the game is just the thing that they're doing, but they're actually just hanging out. They're talking. They have their headsets on. They're chatting the whole time. It's a whole different dimension to the social interaction, isn't it? Where now, one, they have an option of actually spending the entire day with their friends from school, which we never had. Like, unless they're actually coming over for a sleepover or something, which was, I don't know, once a year maybe. Uh, we didn't have that option. Like, we couldn't actually spend the entire day with our friends from school, but they can. What do you guys think? Like, how has this change in technology actually changed that social interaction for the better or for the worse?
Um, it depends on what age group you're looking at this point. Uh, because if you're looking, I personally think if that's really what's happening, then till the age of 15, it's bad, irrespective, because it's going
Okay.
to like chew into your time which you could spend doing something else. And personally, I know this because I have done it, as you all know, my Dota exploits.
Yes.
So, uh, but I don't regret it as well. Uh, During college, it was more of how to keep my brain like focused in one space.
Hmm.
Otherwise, I think a lot, and it doesn't take a lot of time for me to go into overthinking mode. And it's not like I'm doing destructive overthinking, but it's like sort of I don't want to call it ADHD, but it's sort of like that. Like I I go in different
Mm.
directions, keep jumping from
Mm.
one place to the other. Um,
Mm.
but Dota helped me focus my energy a lot. And s- during that time, I was like, okay, this is what I'm doing. But I became so hyper focused that I didn't know what was going around me. So that's why I'm
Yeah.
saying, like, if that's what's happening till the age of 15 for kids, then it's bad. But frankly, I have my niece over here. She like, sorry, not niece, my cousin actually. Uh, um, like you guys met Arya, right? And
Oh,
so
yeah.
yeah, she's
The Harry
sh
Potter champion.
the Harry Potter champion, yeah. Um, but she has a social life, but I think most of her friends uh, are in person. Like they just meet up and do things, and they are like society friends, some sort
Yeah.
of like that. But that might just be because you people of like birds of the same feather flock together type thing. I don't
Yeah.
want to say why, why, what's the same feather, but you guys get it. Um, you tend to hang out with people who look like you. That's it.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, that
So
is. But then again, right? I feel who you become friends with. I'm sure the age-old biology still exists. But when it comes to when I was a kid, the people I used to spend time with or hang out with dictated what sort of person I became, and that was very true. Like when I used to hang out with different people, I kind of felt that I was a different person with each of them, right?
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
when you're doing the same thing on social media or just online in general, you have this innate thing happens where there is that like in games, dying is not such a big thing because you know you're going to respawn, you're fine. You know that the game wants you to keep playing, so even if you don't do well, you'll eventually do well. There's that change that happens where, oh, my actions have no consequences, where you suddenly become this other person who does not think about the consequences of what they might be doing, which I find really important because in my interactions with the interactions that I remember, the ones that I like, were when I was kind to someone, when I actually had a friend who I was meeting and they were going through something and I was actually kind and I was like, I was a good guy when I was back in school. I don't know. And it's not the 80% of stuff that I used to do. It's the 20% where which you remember, and I think that's actually what's shaped me. So if you move this entire interaction to a platform where there are no consequences, where you can hide behind fake accounts and you can hide behind anything really. There's 100 ways to hide online, and you can troll someone, you can bully someone, all without consequences. How do you think that affects this whole thing of making friendship? And is that what's actually making it harder to become friends?
I guess it depends, right? Like if you have a public profile on social media, you face all of this on a very regular basis. Like you see people like commenting on your posts because, and I don't know, like I don't have an opinion on it, but I feel like if your profile is public, they say that they have the right to comment whatever they want on it because you made it public. So so that's how they back their statements, that's how they back the things that they do.
Mm,
But it does affect the creator regardless. It does
yeah.
affect you if you go to your comments and you see people like commenting on your features, like on the way that you look, your body, on like if you're someone who talks, people, like if you give out a lot of opinions, people will talk about your opinions, and it's your opinion, right? You're not
Yeah.
necessarily telling others what to do, you're just giving your opinion. But it's like people just feel entitled to say whatever they want. And and many celebrities have spoken about it in interviews as well, is that it affects them in a very bad way. Like people have gone into like depression, people have gotten anxiety, people are taking therapy for it because they have to face these trolls every single day. But they don't have an option because most of their work, like their money, their
Mm,
finances, it all comes from social media. So we live in this kind of a weird world where you have to learn how to face it, like you have to learn how to
yeah.
brave that if you want to
Yeah.
be successful and if you want to continue to do it. But at the same time, like if you talk about kids, like I have my nieces and nephews who like they all have iPads, and they have, like, my niece is 10, I think, and she already has a phone. Of course it's controlled, like the apps that are on the phone, but she still has it, so she can like call you, she can like message you. So and it's not just like a personal thing, but it's also schools demanding that they get some kind of technology. That they, like,
Mm.
schools also ask you, like, if you go to a private school today, I don't know about public schools, but if you go to a private school, they say, oh, you should have a laptop, and you should have like an iPad, and you should have this and that, because they have a lot of like e-learning platforms and things
Yeah.
that you can do virtually. And I think COVID has influenced this a lot. So
Yeah.
there is some form of technology in every single person's hand, whether you're a kid, whether you're a teenager, whether you're an adult. And I think that's how it kind of affects you in different ways.
Yeah.
But you can't get rid
Yeah,
of it. I feel like you
and
can't take away.
like if you don't get exposure to those things, like personally, I didn't have exposures to video games so much. Like in my house, I didn't have a computer on which I could play video games till I was in 12th standard. Like I had a computer since first standard, but I couldn't play games on it. So
Mm.
it's like
Yeah.
if I had that exposure before, maybe I wouldn't have played Dota as much as I played after 12th standard.
Yeah.
I used to play games since I was 4 years old, right? So 1999. So Windows 95 or 98. I do
Oh
used to
yeah.
play those games. So that was one of the reasons and there were friends that I knew that who played a lot of Dota or League of Legends and other uh, 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 massively multiplayer games, right? Those world building games, and I've seen uh, I've seen them sidetrack from their goals. Uh,
Mm.
Unfortunately, they are not doing anything right now. They're just sitting
Yeah.
at home doing nothing. So I did see that bad phase as well. So that was also one of the reasons that I decided to stay away from it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, but yeah, if
And I think you're
sure,
making the case for technology, aren't you? Like the reason that you had this technology from
yeah,
like early on, like Tanvi was saying, like all the kids have computers, they have
it's
iPads.
it's
It's
the
not
same thing.
necessarily a bad thing,
Yeah,
right? Like
Yeah,
it gives you that exposure because you're eventually going to get them. You're
so
yeah,
eventually
what
going
And
to have
exactly.
the
this,
thing
but
is,
what I'm trying to say
you
is what I'm
fall
trying to say
back.
is it's the
yeah.
same thing, right? So with the advent of AI, right, there's also experts cautioning about how to have to practice safe AI, right? How to be extra careful around AI,
Hmm.
what we should be, what guard bands we should have, right? Around AI. So it's the same thing, right? What guard bands do you think you can put yourself around technology, right? Hey, so maybe limiting the usage, right? So maybe just a couple of hours a day, or just maybe playing a few games, right, with your friends. So I think that limitation is important. It is, and if you yourself get to experience or from your friends, if you hear or if you see bad examples of it, you try to learn from it, right? So I think that
Hmm.
happened with me from a very early age. So I was able to focus on what needs to be focused on at that
I feel like,
appropriate age.
once you become an adult, once you start having like your own opinions, you start understanding things better, you can put those restrictions on yourself, because then you start to recognize what is good for you, what is bad for you, and then you can start doing that. But I feel like when you're in the age of 13 to 19, you get influenced
Yeah, you get
so much.
influenced a lot. Yeah,
Yeah,
By
and
the
it's
time
very
you
easy to get addicted
yeah,
to
yeah,
It's very easy to get
anything.
addicted, and it's very
Yeah.
easy to get carried away with that
Yeah.
addiction. So
Yeah.
it's like, I feel like it's a very tough job for parents also, because it's like you want to give your child that space, but then at the same time you want to limit their use of like technology, or look at the things that they are doing with that technology. So I feel like it's a very tough job nowadays, to because technology is in so many people's hands, and you can control it, but I feel like you can only control it to a certain level, because unless you're like
Exactly.
fully involved in your child's life, it's very difficult to see that. And nobody wants to be involved in that way, right? People want to give their child their space and
Yeah,
all of that. So it's like a very tricky line that you don't know like what to do
because
sometimes.
when it came to our parents' generation, they had a very obvious form of control. Like they got to control where we spent time,
Yeah.
and that was about it, and that was enough. Like they knew our friends, they knew who we hung out with, and they're like, oh, don't hang out with that person.
Yeah.
Uh, त्याची लक्षणं चांगली नाही आहेत or whatever.
And now you have
The
friends
whole cliched
online.
stuff.
Yeah. Now you
Sorry,
have
But
friends
but
yeah,
but
online.
I'm
Like your
glad that
kids have
we
friends online.
yeah I mean
so
majority of our years, right, our childhood years. I'm glad that we didn't have smartphones or other forms of technology.
Yeah,
I'm really glad. I used to go out and play with friends, play cricket, play football, right? Play Lapachapi, right?
yeah.
It
Yeah.
was a different world, and I don't see children in my society in Pune right now. I don't see them doing that. It's
No,
bad.
I don't see kids playing downstairs. Like, but
As
Yeah.
much, yeah.
it
You
doesn't
don't even
happen
see
anymore.
kids. I mean,
yeah,
nowadays. I mean, even if you see kids, they're still on their phones, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
like
The thing
parents
is,
have to
I
forcefully send them. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, go here, play football, play cricket, but
yeah,
don't send
yeah,
them
but
home.
but Priyam, like I feel like it's not only like technology that has brought us to this stage. I feel like COVID has a big
Yeah,
part to play
yeah.
in this
COVID also
because
played a big part.
we moved so much into like this remote virtual thing that all schools, all colleges, all organizations were forced to implement e-learning platforms and like
yeah,
virtual, videos and all of that, that automatically it made you spend more time on technology,
yeah,
which we had smartphones since we were in like 7th or 8th grade, right? So we've had that, but we knew how much to use them. We like we still put a lot of importance on in-person friendships. So like when we used to all hang out together, we weren't on our phones the whole time, even though we had them. And Instagram also came through in like 2012, 13, so in our first year of engineering. So we were still not as much on the phone or on the laptop as much as we could have been, even though there were like video games and things like that. So I feel like because COVID has forced us to go into this remote virtual thing, we can't escape it. Like there is a laptop in front of us all day. Like
yeah.
there's like you don't have an
mm,
option. Um,
yeah.
Yeah.
and with
I'll
your
be
phones
honest, if
as
I
well.
didn't have Dota during COVID, I would have probably lost my mind. I I was just bored of looking at the same people every day, just sitting at home. So I'm glad Dota was there, and my Dota friends
I
to
hope
keep
those
me.
people don't watch this. I don't know. Like,
They can watch it. They know it.
But it's
They,
true, right? Because you have like
They were probably
lockdown
more
and
sick
you
of
are.
you than you
yeah,
were
they
of
were
them.
probably more sick of me. I used to play Dota like it was my 9 to 5 job.
oh, wow. Yeah,
I just hope my
yeah.
PhD
Same thing with
advisor doesn't
PhD.
see this. Yeah, I
Yeah.
just hope that my PhD advisor doesn't see this. Otherwise, everyone else is okay.
Then I guess this is a good point to transition into. How did what is like your earliest story of technology? Like in the last one, we had some really nice ones where Bhutka told us about uh, his first Android phone, which was not actually a phone, which was an app on his computer. And what is
Oh,
like
I have
your
a.
first story? Yeah,
So, I mean, of course, I got a phone very early on compared to a lot of my friends, just because I used to go for tuition classes alone. Like I had this like rickshaw wale kaka who used to take me, and that's the only reason why my mom gave me a phone when I was in 8th grade. So that was like my first sort of technological thing. And at that time I remember we used to pay for this monthly pack where we used to get like
yeah,
300 free messages or something.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then I used to like use up all of them, and I still had like 15 days. I think BBM was my most
Yeah,
like exciting technological thing. Like I
yeah.
got a BlackBerry and I was like connecting with these people on BBM and like
ये
posting
तो था
those
BBM
photos
pin
and
देना.
those statuses.
Oh.
Yes. It was like such a that's yeah, it was very exciting. I think that was my most
Mm.
exciting technological thing.
So what was the BBM craze? Like, I was never actually part of it. I only became part of it after BBM launched for Android. But what was the BBM craze? What was this whole thing about BBM?
So basically, you could only have it if you had a BlackBerry. So that was like
Yep.
the first thing. That was BlackBerry was like the iPhone of that
Yeah.
time.
Like an
Where
exclusive
it's
club.
like
Exclusive
yeah,
Yeah.
club.
it's like an exclusive club. So
It's
only if
like
you
a
have a
rich people
BlackBerry, you
club.
get a BBM
It's
pin.
the same thing as blue messages on iPhone
Yeah. Yeah.
compared to green messages.
Correct. Yeah. So if you have an
Because
iPhone,
I
it goes
remember
as
at
an
that
iMessage.
time it was a huge thing. It was like having a BlackBerry was everything. One, you couldn't actually talk to half the people if you didn't have a BlackBerry,
Yeah.
which kind
Yeah.
of eventually happened with iPhones.
The thing is, it was present in a time where there was no Instagram. Like it was pre-Instagram era. So it kind of replicated what Instagram does right now, where you could post these statuses that I think it stayed on your profile for a few hours or like 24 hours. And
Right.
then you could change it. You if you're traveling somewhere, you can say like, oh, traveling to Mahabaleshwar, and then people would know, oh, she's traveling to Mahabaleshwar. So it was like
Right.
real time. So
Uh-huh.
that was the craze, and then once Instagram came through, that just died because now Instagram let you post pictures along with captions, along with
Yeah.
like everything.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that was like the Instagram of the time, sort of.
Yeah, was
Hmm.
it like a set, like was it different to all the SMSs you sent? Like, was it free? Was that why so many people
Yeah, it
prefer to
was
It,
go
just
on
a
BBM for?
status that you
no, it
uploaded,
wasn't
and
free. It wasn't free.
it was free.
And so it made it even more exclusive.
Because
BBM was,
that
And
was
then
a whole
everybody,
big thing about WhatsApp, right? Like, it was you didn't use up your SMS quota if you're on WhatsApp. You
yeah.
just use data.
exactly.
Sure, it's a little bit slower, but that's fine.
Yeah, no, I used to have that Nokia slider phone, and like it was a smartphone, so like back in 11th standard, like WhatsApp was pretty nascent, like it was in its nascent stages, had just come up, and back then, like suddenly people were on BBM, like give me your pin. But then I was like, you have something you can use for free. Why aren't you
Yeah.
using it? And then also, I think BBM had group chats, which WhatsApp did not at that point.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And
I
then
think
what?
the last feature which came on WhatsApp was the video calling feature, right? That was one of the
Yeah.
last features that came. Yeah.
So then like once WhatsApp got group messaging,
Yeah.
then BBM started to fade out
Yeah.
Yeah.
because then you can get something which is for free
Yeah.
versus you can get
Yeah.
something which is for paid for. And it can be on any phone. Like you can have WhatsApp on a BlackBerry as well. So
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
so it
I
just
think that was a
took out
game
what,
changer.
yeah,
WhatsApp was a game changer for sure.
It was
yeah,
Like I
huge.
remember used to have these like birthday groups, right? Like
yeah,
Pete's birthday, and then we used to
Yeah.
have like 10 people in it. Even like your friends who are not our direct friends
Yeah.
also used to like be on there. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I
No,
remember there was this whole thing of, oh, how do we add these people without him knowing? And because most of the times these things used to be surprises, and you're like, oh, we actually want them there, but we're not actually friends with them. How do we add them? So you have to
Are you guys aware of
find.
WeChat?
yeah,
Yeah,
WeChat.
yeah,
Yeah.
We,
So
yeah,
WeChat
yeah,
is a super app. So if you're in China, right, you can text people, right? There's a social media associated with WeChat, and then there's all the
so,
payment and finance.
sorry, before Sudeep completes his statement, Pete, now you know who hasn't seen your previous
yeah. Yeah, I do.
podcast.
Oh my god,
I was about to say, I was like, no, it's
I haven't
okay,
seen
let
the
him
whole thing.
finish.
I haven't seen the whole thing.
I get analytics on YouTube, so I know exactly who hasn't seen my
Okay,
podcast.
okay.
oh my god.
Anyways, keep going, Sudhya.
Keep going, Sudeep.
But yeah, I mean, you can do everything on that. So it's a super version of WhatsApp.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
it's
think the
that.
Yeah,
Sudeep, like I think the last thing that came on WhatsApp was the disappearing photos. I think that came much
yeah,
later.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
Disappearing photos. Yeah,
Disappearing
Yeah,
photos, even messages.
like Snapchat.
yeah,
Yeah,
even
Yeah.
messages.
disappearing messages.
Yeah,
disappearing.
the
Now they're
big ones
And
integrating
like birthday
no, the
messages.
AI
last
into
change,
it as well.
yeah, last change was adding AI. We in the US got it first. No, like now they
Yeah.
are, everyone else has started getting it. But the one before that was editing messages you've already
Messages,
sent.
yeah, editing messages.
Mm.
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah,
That
yeah.
was the
Editing
last
sent
big,
messages.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now you have like these communities on WhatsApp. So you don't necessarily like if you like a creator and they have like a community on WhatsApp, you can always join it.
So
You
I've
can
never
actually
used that.
discover people on WhatsApp apparently, where it's almost like Instagram, where you can search for someone and find someone on WhatsApp without having their phone number, which was
Oh,
not the case
WhatsApp has
before.
so many capabilities right now. Like I don't think we're even aware of everything that
No.
it does. Because there's this one section I've never opened, like the community section. The only reason I know about it is because my school started a community and then they
Yeah.
added all of us to it. But there is like a section completely undiscovered.
yeah,
Yeah.
I've never used
here's a
that.
funny story, right? So it was I think in the baby phases of WhatsApp, right? And so my mom used to give me a sheet of paper, and it had a bunch of things that she wanted me to buy, right? Go and buy from the kirana market, right, or general store, right? And that used to be the way, right? But then in the early stages of WhatsApp, she used to directly message the kirana wala guy with the whole list. And
Yeah.
when I used to ask, "Hey mom,
It used
can
to
you
be
can you
ready when you got
yeah,
there.
yeah,
It
yeah.
used to be
You
ready.
list dena kaya aana hai. Okay, so I'm like, hey, it's already there. He's already packed everything, and you
Yeah.
just have to pay.
Yeah, and
Yeah. Now
nowadays
you
Yeah.
can even pay.
that is also
Yeah,
now you can even pay, but also
yeah,
like now they have these people that work for them who will just come and drop
Yeah.
it off at your
Uh,
place now,
yeah,
uh,
yeah,
and
yeah.
all you have to
Zepto
do is
is
send them a
huge in
WhatsApp.
India.
no, but
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah, like in my neighborhood, we've had that system since a long time. Like you
yeah,
just call them up,
exactly.
Kirana wala, he used to take down what you need and he used to bring it home.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
So,
Yeah,
No,
if he
but
had
with
that
that,
guys, if
I
he
works.
had
always
guys
felt
at his
guilty
store, right?
because,
Then yeah.
mm,
yeah.
Yeah, I
I
think
always
that
felt
works
guilty
for
with that one because I used to order like one Coke and he used to come and bring me one Coke.
oh
And I
no,
was
no,
like,
no.
damn, I could have
He
just
he
gone.
never came for like one thing. He
Yeah, yeah,
came only if it was a bulk order, not
bulk order.
not
Yeah.
yeah.
okay,
But
not for
now,
one
See,
like
I was just spoiled. I don't know.
this is something that I observed like in my like recent trip to India, where now it started with medical stores as well. The difference between medical stores is like now you can send pictures on WhatsApp to them,
Yeah,
so they know exactly like what medicine you're looking for. Because like if you take crocin for example, there might be like 5 different types of crocins, right?
Yeah.
So you can say, oh, I want crocin advanced, and you can put a picture, and then that's exactly what they pack and keep it ready for you, and sometimes they deliver it in like 15
Nice.
minutes.
Yeah.
Everything
Dunzo.
over WhatsApp, which is
Dunzo's the new rage in
Dunzo is
India.
also,
Dunzo.
Dunzo,
Yeah,
yeah,
Dunzo, yeah.
Dunzo.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it
I
has
think this
really
is
helped
one phase
small
that we missed,
businesses.
didn't we? Yeah.
yeah, Dunzo's
Yeah.
Sorry?
a phase we missed in India.
Yeah, we missed.
Yeah.
I wish there was something like Dunzo
Yeah,
here in the
Yeah,
US,
there's
you
nothing
know.
peer to peer, but like we have Instacart and like
yeah,
DoorDash also does it if you want.
yeah.
Mm.
You don't
I
Yeah,
have
mean,
but like
let's.
Uber also does it, right?
Yeah,
There's an Uber
yeah,
package
yeah,
system,
yeah, yeah,
but
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
has to be paid for. So they're not going to be like, oh, I'll
Yeah.
go to a store and then, because for grocery apps and things like that, it's available. But what if you want something picked up from a restaurant which doesn't deliver to your area? So
Yeah.
then you
yeah,
want to be like,
yeah,
oh, I wish I could done so. Like if I want to order something from San Francisco and I live in San Jose, I can just go on the app and say, hey, can you like
Yeah.
buy this and
yeah.
get it? I'm
yeah.
okay
Paytay,
paying a little
edit
bit
this
extra.
out. This is a new company in America now. It's it's
It's just
logistically
gonna be
not
so much
possible in
harder to
America.
do,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, it's
Because
logistically
labor
not
costs are
possible.
so much higher there.
Yeah,
And here as well. Like in Australia,
No,
the
I think no, it is still possible in the US, but only in bigger cities. So I think New York
yeah,
City is a great example. You can have it in New York City. For example, if you want to send documents, right, to
mm,
someone who needs them who needs them in a couple of hours, right? So a rider comes up, takes the documents, and then delivers. It's a great
yeah.
thing, right? You don't have to personally go. You save up on your
but
time
you
first.
have them. You have
Yeah,
those
but
people.
messenger services have been around for a
Yeah,
Yeah,
while.
like
Oh,
Uber
let us
does
see.
that. Like
yeah, they.
so, like
Yeah.
Sudeep, like my friend, like my friends Madhura and Veer. So what happened is she was sick one day and she wanted like home cooked food.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then we booked an Uber for that, and then he sent the Uber to my place. I packed the food,
Yeah.
I gave it, and then the
Oh,
Uber package system took it there. So that exists, like you can do that, but it only works for things that they don't have to pay for. So
yeah,
like
yeah.
Mm.
they can just pick up something and drop it to the new address, but they won't be able to pay or purchase anything for you. Um,
Yeah.
which works with like grocery things, right? Like they'll
Yeah.
go,
Ah,
they'll shop for you, they'll pay, and then you just pay through the app, and then they come and drop it off.
That's Instacart.
Uh,
That's Instacart.
that's Instacart.
yeah,
That's
Yeah.
Instacart.
yeah.
No, but
So
like
something
I
like
didn't
that,
know.
but
Yeah, I didn't know like Uber does like peer to peer, like
Yeah,
you
even
said,
even
like
I had no idea. Yeah.
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 So
Yeah,
there
so if
was
you open the app like and scroll down, like if you put an address and scroll down, you see where where you see like Uber X, Uber XL, Uber
Mm.
Pool, and then you scroll down, there's like a package thing, so you can
oh,
select
Wow.
is
that.
Yeah,
it
yeah, yeah,
expensive
yeah.
or
I
It's not
don't
that
know, I've
expensive
not
actually. It's
it's not that
almost the
registered
same
expensive?
cost
myself.
as the Uber.
Okay. I mean,
Yeah.
Uber is expensive, so
Uber is expensive.
so
That's a
Maybe
separate
they'll
problem.
have, but they can Uber pool. So then it's actually extremely expensive to have that, like for the end user, because it's extremely beneficial to the Uber driver because he can take a ride while doing the delivery as well.
Yeah.
I was looking at this video the other day. When Uber was trying to get into the business, right, and acquire customers, right. So what I saw was what Uber did in the initial years was they just tried to acquire users, right, customers, right. Not the drivers but the customers, right. So they offered a lot of discounts to customers, right. Free rides, if you refer someone you get free rides, stuff like that, right. But then
Yeah,
after and this was essential for them to win against regular taxis that were already present, right. So
yeah,
for the first phase of their implementation was to acquire the customer set, right.
customer
Then
base. Yeah,
after that they focused on the drivers. So they started giving sign-on bonuses to drivers and a lot of different perks, right. If you get 515 ratings, you would get better rates, right. You would get more percentage of the total ride amount, right. So that was a second phase, right. And now during during these two phases, they were able to get more and more business than the regular local taxi drivers, right. So what now they're trying to do, and you guys might have probably also seen surge pricing, right, on
Hmm.
either on Uber
yeah,
or Lyft, right. So that
yeah.
used to be a thing before, but now what they've done is they have introduced all these different tiers of Ubers, right? So Uber Pool, right? Then your Uber, regular Uber, then your XL, right? Then your Black XL or whatever that is, right?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
they have introduced all these tiers, and sometimes you might see that even a luxury car would be a regular Prius sometimes. So it doesn't matter. Uh, that kind of tier based system they've introduced to mask the surge pricing, because customers, when they see that, hey, I'm getting picked up at a rush hour from the airport, and a surge pricing is applied to you. You feel sad, right? You feel sad that you're paying a lot more. But then
Yeah.
now, because they've introduced this different tiers of cars or payments, right. Now you don't directly see it as a surge pricing, but you see it as, hey, I'm paying more and I'm getting a better service. It's the same thing as as
Hmm.
as subscriptions that we have, right. So Netflix subscriptions, without ads, with ads, regular standard definition 4K, right, 1080p,
Hmm.
right. So it just it's that's what they've been able to do because
No,
of
but Uber's
acquiring all the
worse. Like
market share
Uber's
and
like
gaining. Yeah,
they give you the extra price without
yeah,
any of the extra service. Like
exactly.
they're
And
the
yeah,
worst
exactly.
of both. Yeah.
None of the extra services, right.
Yeah.
Sometimes even if you book the highest level of package, right, with Uber, you still get a normal sedan, right. It's not a luxury car.
It
It's a
could be
normal.
the new Prius.
Yes,
A
it's,
new,
I think
I
I
a
still
new
think
don't
that
think that
Prius,
if we
qualifies as
think of,
luxury.
a new Prius is extremely expensive at this point.
Oh,
yeah, but like Sudeep, now if we look at just the US, right,
yeah,
then obviously we think about all of these things. Like where if you're someone who like uses Uber on a regular basis, they might
yeah,
have like maybe better things to say about this. But I feel like this whole Uber thing has changed the game in terms of like your travel to other countries. Like when I
yeah,
visited Italy
yes,
like
yeah,
6
yeah.
months
True, true, true.
ago,
That is true.
yes.
I could like I got down at the Naples train station and I ordered an Uber and it took me like straight to my hotel. Like, it's things like that versus like because when you travel to different countries, it's difficult to like you don't know the language, you can't really
Mm,
talk to people. So before Uber, you had to look for a taxi or you had to
yeah.
look for like public transportation and then figure your own way to the hotel, which now all of that is bypassed. You just order something on the app and and the thing is it's also that translation, right? Because they don't
Mm,
understand English, but they have like they had an Italian interface of the same app. So whatever, like we put it in English, but he could see it in his language, and I think that was like a game changer. So you could just take an
mm.
Uber like wherever you
Yeah, yeah.
wanted,
It's
and
it's it's great
uh,
when you're traveling. It's great when you're
it's
traveling. Yeah,
yeah,
but
it's
but
great when
not
you're
not for a
traveling.
regular use.
Uh,
I feel.
I just
Not
don't
for,
Because
think
of
that the
course, not for a
system that
regular.
they've built is that good. Like,
yeah,
they've killed all the taxi services and now we're just paying more
yeah,
for a shittier service.
No,
exactly.
that's not true. Like they have standardized fares across. Like
I don't
previously, if
think
you
that's
were
true.
getting, no, previously if you were getting ripped off, you wouldn't know.
They have gotten rid of the scamming things, but then if you
Yeah,
called a taxi, like the old school thing of I don't think we actually had this in India, but where you actually phone the service and you say I want to book a
Hmm.
taxi to take me from
no,
here to
We
Yeah.
had
there,
that
they
in
used
yeah,
to
Mumbai. We
tell
had
you the
that in
we
Mumbai.
price.
have that. KK
We had
Travels
that
is
in Mumbai.
exactly that.
Yeah, KK travels, exactly. But that was only for like longer distances. Here you can book a taxi to go to the airport, and they'll pick you up
Yeah.
at the exact right time. The driver will be waiting outside 5 minutes before your scheduled departure. They'll help you with your bags, and that was the level of service you got. Like, and it's a pretty decent car. If they don't drive well, like I have Ubers who have driven horribly. They've like almost cut a red light, and I'm just sitting in the back hoping that okay, I get there in one piece. uh,
Hmm.
but if the normal taxi service did this, they actually you can they call you, was everything okay with your ride, and you can tell that human being that this driver is an idiot, why do you have him,
We,
and they used to take action.
you can do the same in Uber.
In Uber you rate them 1 star and they just create a new profile. Like I've seen this so many times. I'm like, what
I
is
don't
going
think
on here?
I don't I
I
don't think
don't
they
They
can
think
should
do
be
that
that.
happens.
blacklisted.
I don't think they can do that.
Nah,
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
dude,
I
that
don't think
happens so many times. Oh
you
my
have to
god.
put up your driver's
yeah.
license. So
You have
They
to
I
they
don't
put
think
drive
that
under
happens.
somebody
your
else's
car VIN
profile.
number.
Yeah, driving under somebody else's profile
Yeah.
or using a different car, that does happen. But
Hmm.
Yeah.
I think right now Uber like has like it shows a display pic like this is the driver. Is this who you
Yeah, and
see?
half the times it's not the person who
Yeah.
shows up. Like I've had this so many times
No,
where
I
I
haven't had that
No,
happen.
no,
Yeah.
see
I've
that I'm
never had
getting a
that.
female Uber driver, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool. This will be a first, and then it's just a guy who shows up, and he's like,
I
oh,
don't
sorry,
think
it's
it
somebody
happens
else's
as
profile.
much in the US, but I
Yeah.
feel like this happens a lot on like food delivery apps. Like it
Yeah.
it gives you a name, and then like if it's like like for example if it says
Yeah.
Siddharth, it might be like maybe like a like an Indian, Pakistani, Bangladeshi. It could be like our section of people, but then a completely different person shows up.
Person
So
shows up. Yeah.
that happens a lot
Yeah,
on
It's
yeah,
called
food
Yeah.
delivery.
that
identity theft.
happens
Yeah.
with
It's an
yeah.
identity theft.
And I feel like people have actually started farming these profiles where they create a profile, they curate like some really good reviews, and then they sell it. And somebody else is using a 5 star Uber profile at that point. Like I feel like this has become a secondary business.
Whoa.
Yeah, that might be
I
true.
think it also happens, at least in the US, it happens with people like who want to maybe earn, but they don't have that kind of a visa which lets them like do it, but they want to earn. So it's like a lot
Yeah.
of people like that who probably do it. But Ubers, I've never seen that. Like I I mean, I haven't used it as much in the last 4 or 5 years, like Uber, Lyft, but um, at least before, it never happened to me that I used to always, because I used to look at the picture of the driver just for my safety, to ensure that it's the same person, it's the same car, it's the same like number
Yeah.
plate, and this hasn't really happened to me as much in the US at least.
Yeah. It's a bad side of a good thing. Like when Uber came out, it was a game changer. Like the fact that it actually just finds an Uber which is close to you. Like we thought it was a very obvious advantage that they could provide because it was an app and they had your location and they had the location, and it was like, oh, it's a great platform. But then what they did with it, where they actually pushed out all of these nice taxi services, and now they are providing a shittier service. Like yeah, it's just
The
sad.
thing is though, like it in the US, like taxi service, I mean, I don't know, I don't know about how it was before, but because US is so big, like I don't know if there was taxi service everywhere, which I think
Hmm.
now Uber can take you anywhere you want. Like you can
Yeah.
book an intercity Uber as well. Like I had a friend like who took an Uber from here to like 2 hours away or something. Like you could do that.
Yeah,
Wow.
So
it's there
I
in India.
think
You can do that in India as well.
in India, yes, but I'm talking about like the US as well.
Yeah,
So in
yeah.
India also, it's very common. Like there was a friend who was visiting us at in Pune recently, and he's like, okay, he told us, okay, I'm done, I'm going to leave. And then I was like, okay, where's your Uber? And he's like, oh, he's just 5 minutes away. And then he's like, I'm going to Mumbai. And I was like, what? Like you're going to Mumbai? Like you're taking an Uber from like right now to
Yeah.
Mumbai? He's like, yeah, like I've done that many times before.
Yeah.
It's that common. And it's
Yeah.
quite cheap also. Like
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't live there, if you don't earn there, I guess it was cheap for him. Yeah.
I did the
But
same
that's
thing when I
also very
went
common.
to that resort. I booked an Uber
No,
and showed up there.
That
Yeah,
resort in the nature,
that
right?
one. Yeah.
yeah, that one.
Yeah.
That one.
No name dropping. That one.
Sudeep, by the way, what you were talking about, this is a Mr. Who's the Boss video, right? Or
Which
this
one?
is the guy on YouTube,
Mr. Beast.
Mr. Beast or Mr. Who is the Boss or something like that.
Yeah, there's also Mr. Who's the Boss is from UK, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
talks
This
about
is from
technology.
that video, right? Like what you were talking about, this whole
I
different.
think it is. I think it is. Yeah. I think it is
Yeah.
from Mr. Who's the
I saw
Boss.
that video. It was a really cool
Yeah,
one. Like he really broke down how apps have
yeah.
become shitty, and I completely agree with him.
Exactly. I think it was the same. Yeah.
Now you get a
I think there
copyright
was a term
infringement.
and shitification.
No, this will
Right,
get
right.
cut. It's fine.
Yeah, yeah.
Just the plagiarism will stay. The
Plagiarism, yeah,
acknowledgement will
exactly.
get cut.
But I think it was from the same video. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
Kids with
let's talk
technology.
about a different aspect of technology, right? Like let's talk about the more general aspect of technological advance, where has it actually made our lives easier or better?
Yes.
Let's take an example of let's not do AI because it's too new. We haven't actually adopted it completely, so let's leave that one for now. But let's talk about something like I don't know, something that we use every day. What is something we use every day?
Coffee machine.
I use my air fryer every
Smartphones.
day.
Smartphones. Let's be
Coffee
very
machine.
general. Coffee
Smartphone.
machines is something we use every day, but I get my coffee made by someone else. I'm fine.
Damn.
Rich people.
Yeah.
Rich Perry.
I am very particular about coffee in Australia.
Rich
Like
Perry.
yes, I need.
But also
I need that.
cafes in Australia are so good that
So
you
good.
like it's a different experience. Like the
And that
local
was one of the
cafes.
reasons why because the local cafe culture is so strong. That's the reason why Starbucks couldn't survive, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Starbucks died.
Because when I went to Sydney, and this was 11 years ago, I think. It was a long time ago. But
9 Australian. Did
uh,
you say 9 Australian years ago?
No, he
11
didn't say
years ago.
anything like that.
but basically,
I'm
like
pretty sure
because
we
I used
share
to
time,
drink a lot
Sudeep.
of
Like I don't know.
I know.
Like our currency might be
But
different, our time zone might be different, but we do share time. Like,
Yeah. That and thank God that's one thing that the US did not touch, right? They touched the lens system, they touched the weight system, right? I'm glad they didn't touch the time.
It's weird, but I don't think they touched it at all. Like they didn't go to the newer system, is what I think
yeah.
happened over
Yeah.
there.
Hmm.
They
Yeah,
Sorry,
but
what are
chose
we
like
talking about?
basically what I was saying is
like
when
miles
I
and inches. They
Yeah.
just didn't choose
Oh,
to
metric system. Okay, nah, never
metric
mind.
system.
Sorry,
Yeah, they didn't go
let's
to
not
the
go
new.
there. Let's not turn
Yeah.
this into a rant. It's fine. Tambi,
yeah.
you go. Yeah.
But yeah, I was just saying that the cafes are so good, like, and even at that time, right? Like, this was a while ago, but the coffee and the cafes that were there in Sydney at the time were really, really good. And I think that's why maybe Pete, like, you savor that experience of going
Yes.
outside and
Yes.
having coffee rather than having a
So
coffee
true.
machine at home.
And it's more it's a culture, like even at basically every office I've been at, although in this one, because we have a coffee machine and there's no cafe close by, like we don't actually take coffee breaks, but every other office I've been at, I will take a coffee break at around like 10-15, and that's a great bonding experience with just people at work. the
Yeah.
the first company I was at, where we built and launched the satellites, that was the best part. Like we actually had a lot of team bonding and team building just because we used to all go out for coffee, and it's
Yeah.
such a nice culture. I love that about Australia. And every time
Yeah.
you can try a different cafe. If there is one cafe that not everyone likes, there's another one just there, and you can try that one.
And
And if
another one.
something happens, you
And
can
another
try
one.
another one. Yeah.
Yeah, and here you have a Starbucks, and then two stores ahead you also have another Starbucks. So it's like
Which is
After
equally
after
bad.
four Starbucks, there's Pete's.
There's Pete's, and
Yeah.
then
there's
there's
Pete's
Dutch
and there's
Bros.
Stills. Yeah.
Then there's
Ah,
There's really good like cafes here too. It's just that because US is so big,
mm,
and because of the number of Starbucks that are already there, there's a higher chance that you'll find a Starbucks first, that's
yeah.
closest to you. So that's what ends up
also
happening. But I
also
think,
you're more uh like if it's a standardized thing, you're more likely to take it just because you don't want to be disappointed with if you go to a new
Yeah.
cafe store and it disappoints you.
And it's a quick and easy service, right? You go in
Yeah.
if you're traveling, let's say, right? You go in, quickly get your drink and get out. That's it.
yeah,
Back on the
yeah.
road. So
And also, like, there's so many options. Like, it's not just coffee; it's everything. So you can eat, you can try any other drink, and then because
I
there's so
love the
many of it,
banana breads. The banana breads are nice. Starbucks, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I love
And
banana bread. I
and
try banana bread basically everywhere I go.
I love banana bread,
yeah,
yeah.
and talking about coffee shops and smartphone together, you can order in advance and then just go
Yeah.
and
True, true.
collect your
Eh,
coffee.
Nah,
True, true,
nah,
true.
nah, nah. None of that. No. I hate it when my coffee is just sitting there because I have a cappuccino, so it loses all its foam, and
No,
I'm like, nah, no,
no, that's
not
on you
happening.
then. You have to time it.
No, so I'll
Nah.
probably
That's on
go
you.
in.
I can time it a lot easier by just standing there for 2 minutes. Like, it's fine. My time is not that precious. I'm clearly spending an hour just doing this. My time is not that precious.
Hmm.
yeah. But like
Let's.
talking about just smartphones, Pete, like I feel like
Yeah.
there's so much we do on smartphones except for social media. There's so
Yeah.
much. Like there are times when I like now I have Alexa or Google Home or things like that. So I just say, hey, can you switch off the lights? But before that, I still had an app. I used to go into the app, and if you have your electronics connected to a smart switch, you could just go in the app, click on a button, and
Yeah.
it turns off. So it's like
Yeah.
starting your day with the click of a button to ending your day with the click of a button.
Yes.
And Uber, food delivery, like coffee, shopping, online shopping, every single thing I feel like happens on
Yeah,
a
doing this
smartphone.
podcast. For some reason,
Yeah.
Riverside wouldn't start on my laptop, so doing this podcast, I had to do it on my phone.
I mean,
Yeah,
Yeah.
Riverside. I don't know what happened this morning. Google has instituted some weird cookie thing. Like, I tried to sign into Gmail on my laptop and it just wouldn't work. I was like,
Yeah.
what? Anyway, Tambi, I wanted to get your take, and I am saying this mainly because we have had this chat before where you told me about, limiting digital well-being and like
Mhm.
limiting screen time. Uh,
Yeah.
what's been your take about how do you create structures or how do you adapt to this new thing that we have to deal with, where our parents never had this problem, like screen time was
Yeah.
not a big issue for them. We are today trying to build our lives up, and we have this problem to deal with. Like, there is, you open your phone, you open whatever app you want, and there is always something seeking your attention. There is always a notification. And this is the thing I hate about Instagram. It creates fake notifications for you just so that it can give you that badge, and then you click on it and there's no
Oh,
notification. And
Yeah.
I hate that. And how do you deal with this? Like, how do you find a way past to live
So
life?
you see, you do you remember that meme? You must have seen it. You start your day looking at the small screen, and then you move to your medium screen, and
Yeah.
then after you're done with your medium screen, you move to your large screen, and then you
Yeah.
end your day with your small screen. So
Yeah.
it's like that. And I feel like it, before COVID, we used to go into an office, sit there for 8 hours a day, so our screen time was like a lot, but it was limited to your laptop, like the work that you
Yeah.
were doing. Now, because of COVID, because you've been working from home, like my meeting ends and I pick up my phone, I'm like scrolling for 5 minutes and I keep my phone, and or I have some TV going on in the background. Like I'm
Yeah.
working on my laptop, I have a movie going on in the background on my TV, and then I'm also looking at my phone. So I'm looking at three different screens at the same time. And that got so much, like 1 or 2 years ago for me, it became so much that I decided to limit like my exposure to multiple screens. So I said, okay, let's start with limiting yourself to one screen at a time. It's okay to be in front of a screen all day, which is also bad, but that's how I will, like, I'll need to limit myself. So if I'm
Yeah. One thing
looking
at a
at
time,
my
right? Like,
laptop, yeah,
yeah.
if I'm looking at a laptop, no TV is going on in the background. Or if I'm looking at my phone, I pause my TV for 5 minutes, look at my phone, then keep it down. And then eventually, now what I've done is give me 1 second. My
You can't pause a live cricket match or a live
Dota match.
yeah, Dota match, yeah, online game.
Yeah, so like you can't, of course you can't pause like a live match, but if I'm watching a TV in the background, I can just pause that movie for 5 minutes, scroll on my phone, and then start watching it again. That's how I started first. Eventually I set like these reminders for like 1 hour. When you
Mm.
have 1 hour on Instagram, it gives you like a notification saying, okay, you've reached your limit, and then that's when you keep your phone down, and that helps to a certain extent. But if you're addicted to something, it kind of gets difficult. So it's just like
Yeah.
trying to do whatever I can to whatever extent possible.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's possible to go off completely from things, but like that's what I started to do. Is like when I'm on my laptop working, I try not to have the TV on in the background.
Yeah.
Um,
The thing that's actually worked for me has only been finding an activity that does not involve screens. And for me, that's tennis. Like, if I'm going and playing tennis or I'm going for a walk on the beach or something, I'm not going to have my phone on me. And that's great.
Yeah,
hmm.
And just coming back from that, it tells you, oh, I haven't looked at a screen for the last 2, 3 hours, and I haven't even noticed. And that's amazing. Like,
Yeah.
Priyam and
Yeah,
Sudeep, what you were
that's
talking about, like, you can't pause a live match. You can't pause.
yeah,
Uh, Even that, I feel nowadays when I watch Formula One races, I'm always watching like 2 minutes behind, or I'm
yeah,
watching like 3 minutes behind
Hmm.
because I've paused it at some point, and I've
yeah,
been like, oh no, I want to see this replay right now.
yeah,
Hmm.
And I go and I can do that because that's the technology we have, right?
yeah,
And I feel that having that 2 minute buffer is useful because one, uh, i- the website is trying to provide the same stream to a million users, and everyone wants to watch online. And I'm like, sorry, everyone wants to watch live. I'm like, I don't want to watch live. I can watch 2 minutes behind. It's fine. I don't
Hmm.
care. And
just
it
make
gives you
sure
that
not to
advantage
check
of
up
no
on your
buffering.
phone, right?
Yeah.
Because someone
Yeah.
might
But
post spoilers, right?
you know, the biggest thing that you can do, and this is something that I could actually do very easily, is when you're with your friends, with your family, or with other people, just keep your phone aside. Like you don't need it.
Hmm.
If you're busy, if you're talking to friends, you're enjoying. You don't need to look at your phone. And earlier, it used to just be a reflex, right? Like it's right next to you, and every like 15-20 minutes you might just pick it up, see the time or something. But
Yeah.
you keep it away, like you can keep it in your bag, keep it in your purse, whatever works. And then when
Hmm.
you're present in that time, you probably just take it out to click a picture or a video, and then you keep it back.
Yeah.
But don't keep it like right next to you, and
Yeah.
you won't end up spending time. And that's how I reduced my screen time, at least on my phone. And also I feel like screen time on the TV for me is better than screen time on my phone, because on my
Hmm.
phone I'm mindlessly scrolling and not getting anything out of it. But
Yeah.
when I'm watching a TV, at least I'm seeing a new movie, a new program, like a new show or
But
something.
you're still
Yeah.
And
mindlessly scrolling for a new movie or a new
Well,
series.
mindlessly scrolling, but at some point you choose what you want to watch, right? Like, and that's a big
Yeah.
change when you're on TV. Yeah.
yeah, that
Because
doesn't
the phases
happen
are
to
like
me as much. Like I know what I want to see. Like I do that
Oh.
research before, and then I'll just go on Netflix or Prime or what or Hulu, whatever, and I'll just play the show. I hardly ever just sit on Netflix and be like, oh, what do I want to watch? Like that doesn't
Ooh,
happen
that is a
much.
superpower. I
So
cannot do that. I am mindlessly scrolling at 11 at night. Oh man, what do I watch for the next half an hour before I go to sleep?
I no. So one thing I've learned, Pete, is right. Because if I'm watching something right before I sleep, right, I, I can't sleep properly,
Hmm.
right? I can't go to sleep quicker uh, than compared to if let's say I'm just watching if I'm reading a book, right? That's great, right? Because
Hmm.
my eyes are not focused, they are not straining, right? So that I think that's a best practice. Or you can maybe do a crossword or do a sudoku, something
Hmm.
like that, right? So I feel it's important not to look at your screen at least an hour before you sleep.
I
That
think
way
that's
you can
great
have
advice in
better sleep.
general, but haven't you noticed, like with reading a book, the biggest
Yeah,
problem I had was I had to leave the lights on, right? And sure, smart
you can
switches make
have
it
you
easy
can
that
just
I
have
can
the
still.
table side lamp turned on, right? That's it.
Sure, I
The
mean that is one.
bedside
What
table
I
lamp.
like about what just having something stupid playing on my iPad or something before I
Yeah.
go to sleep is half the time I'm not looking at it. I'm on my
Okay.
pillow trying to fall asleep. I'm watching something that I've already watched. So
Okay.
it's not
yeah.
actually engaging me or it's not keeping my attention.
Okay.
It's just playing in the background and it's almost like a lullaby
Yeah.
where you're falling asleep. You
Yeah.
know what's coming.
I
Exactly.
know
You're
a
not
few
missing
people
anything.
who have the TV on throughout the night
Yeah.
Wow.
because
Whoa.
they fall asleep and it's just on and they need it to fall asleep. So, there's
Yeah.
like different types of people. It's like
Yeah.
whatever
Yeah.
works for you, as long as you're able to sleep peacefully for a
Because
long
I
time.
was I was I
It's
was
okay.
popping melatonin, right? Because I wasn't able to sleep. But then I
Popping,
tried. Yeah. Was
popping melatonin. like it was an addiction of some kind,
no,
popping
it
melon.
was an addiction. So I finished the entire bottle in like 20 days.
Wait, so
So
what is melatonin? I haven't
Just
actually
helps you
come
sleep.
across
let
this.
me show you.
Okay.
Helps you sleep. But you
So,
shouldn't
Pete,
have it
you were
because your
talking
body
about.
loses
So this
its
is a different one,
natural
but then
ability
it
over
does have
time.
melatonin.
Okay.
So these are
Okay.
it has melatonin and ashwagandha. So these are you have to take 2 gummies before you sleep. Yeah. But
So
then
it's not a
I
thing you
used
inhale. Like it's not like a.
it's a gummy. You have to eat it, right?
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So I tried. I limited this. I tried to reduce my screen time before I slept. I read books. I had so you if you go to uh, a nice massage place, right there. There's an instrumental music
Yeah.
in the
The pipe
background, right? So
music. Yeah.
that is a great music to fall asleep to, right? So I've
Definitely.
tried different stuff to get a good sleep. But yeah,
Have you
You
tried
know,
whale sounds?
what sounds?
whale
Whale
sounds.
sounds.
No,
My
I've not
Google
tried.
can create whale sounds for me when I want to fall asleep.
No, but
It's
Pete, like
stupid. It
with
doesn't work.
respect to what keeps you on your phone is notifications. So
Yeah.
like a good practice is like I know it's very difficult to implement no smartphones before 1 hour. Like good practice is just turn off your
Yeah.
notifications because
Mm.
Yeah.
notifications are what keep you uh like like on your toes.
Hooked
Like
on,
okay,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
hooked
Yeah.
on.
Like for me, I've turned off all my Instagram notifications and the or any other app for that matter. The only notifications I have on are WhatsApp and my phone, like my call
Yeah, call and
Mm.
notifications.
messages. Yeah,
Because
that's
yeah, and messages of course, because that's the only place where friends and family reach out. So that's the only thing that's on.
yeah.
But
Right.
Instagram or any other app that you use for like it's elective, right? Like you don't need that. You don't need that to communicate with anybody.
Yeah,
So
that
you
that
can put all
doesn't
of
need
those
your
off.
garner your immediate attention, right? But
Exactly,
messages
exactly.
and
Mm.
WhatsApp or calls, there might be some emergency, or you might
Yeah, yeah,
tend to it immediately, right?
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, and
Has
Pete, you
has
were
it
talking
has it
about
like
like keeping your light on, right, while reading. So there's this thing that I got off of Amazon. So it looks like this, and you just
okay.
put it on your book. So I used to read like a lot of books last year, before I went to sleep, and then you can just put this on your book and then start like this light. So it focuses on the book itself.
Nice.
So you can, yeah, so you can switch off
Yeah,
your
that's really
main
cool. Yeah.
light,
Yeah, that's a
and
good
then
idea.
That's
so
really cool. Yeah.
No,
Because I
but
can't
with
fall asleep
respect
when there's
to
a lot of light in the room. Like I can't
yeah.
my brain doesn't go into that sleep mode. So this is a
yeah,
cool way.
No, but a good thing about like if you guys are having an issue with sleeping, a good thing is having a routine before sleeping. If you
Yeah,
have a routine, like you're going to go to sleep at a specific time, you will sleep properly every other day. Like just try it out. If you want. I
No,
like all of
there's
this
also
thing, like keep your phone away. Like sometimes that
yeah.
won't work.
have your skincare
Sometimes,
routine.
yeah. No, like
Yeah.
sleeping, like create a routine around your sleeping. Like you're going to,
Exactly. There's this
yeah,
thing which people call sleep routines. Like a lot of
yeah,
people as kids used to, brush their teeth, wear their pajamas, and then go to
Yeah,
bed. And that was
exactly.
kind of ingrained into their brains that this means that you're about to fall asleep.
Yeah,
yeah,
And
yeah.
they have carried this on, and they found this very useful afterwards when they wanted to create discipline in their sleep
Yeah.
schedules. And
I feel like there's a lot of advice from people on like these lifestyle things and a lot, but it not all of them might work for you. So
yeah,
you can take that
mm,
advice but
yeah,
see what works for you. And
yeah.
like I'm the wrong person to advise on sleep because I can sleep anywhere, anytime, within 30 like I put my head down and I fall asleep in 30 seconds, touch wood.
yeah,
But I feel like
Nice.
it not every sleep advice will work for you. Like I
Hmm.
like Priyam said, right? This the whole screen time thing. Some people fall asleep very easily if they're watching something on their screen. Like if I
exactly.
put on a
I
show
am like
on
that.
my
Yeah,
phone,
mm,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
So yeah, but routines might help. Like whatever you've done in childhood, maybe try going back to that, and
yeah, yeah.
that might
yeah.
make you fall
Like
asleep
I
faster.
was at Tanvi's place. This was like years ago, and like it was like afternoon time, and then Tanvi comes home. I'm sleeping on her floor, like with the phone next to me.
Yeah,
So
like he was lying down on the floor, and I was seeing him after a year. And I got back from my work, and
this one free
I
one, right?
entered
This
my
one
room, and I was
yeah.
like, "Priyam sleeping on the floor."
Yeah, it's one
So
free
it's
one.
like
Like
I
that.
can fall asleep. Like, well, what I normally that's
Nice.
what I do. Like that's my sleep routine. Like I watch,
Yeah,
I fall
yeah,
fall
yeah.
asleep. So it's
So
I
true.
think that part about like not watching um like anything on the phone, if it's stimulating you to an extent, then sure. Like
Yeah.
don't do it. But if it's not stimulating you, it's mindless scrolling, then you can fall asleep while doing
Yeah.
that as well. So
Because what I've
not
noticed, the
everything.
worst thing that I can watch right before falling asleep is like a F1 game or a football match.
Yeah,
Because I'm so pumped up at the end of it, and I'm like, I can't fall
exactly.
asleep right now. Yeah, let's start wrapping up. Like I
Yeah.
feel if you can just tell me in general about, have you actually felt that technology has helped? And I want to specifically leave this to social interactions. Like, do you think technology has actually helped in your social interactions, or is it actually made things worse? Sudeep, let's start with you.
Uh, it has, I feel, definitely helped, because it lets me keep in touch with people that are not close to me, right? So I feel connectivity uh, is the best thing, right? And if you, even if you look at, go to historic times, right, wherein the communication was an important factor to win a war, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, so I feel, yeah, it's the same thing. Communication, it lets you keep in touch with the people that you love, that you care for, and that's I try to focus on positive sides, but yeah, it does definitely help. Of course, you have to limit the usage of
Yep.
it, as we talked earlier in the podcast. But yeah, I feel it
Yep.
it has definitely helped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Priyam, what
Yeah.
do you think?
I think like Sudeep said, like it has definitely helped me keep in touch with people, but I don't think like it takes it anywhere. Like it just stops someone who's not in front of me. It just stops them from being a total stranger at one point.
Yeah.
Like
Hmm.
I can be a part of their life without being a part of their life. So
Mm.
I think I just look at it that way. That
Yep.
and for me, and that's just because of sort of who I am, like out of sight, out of mind kind of thing. But like then you're not completely out of
Goldfish.
sight.
Priyam the
Yeah,
goldfish.
yeah. Then you're not completely out of sight for me because of social media. Right? Yeah. And yeah, there are many positive aspects about it. There are many negative aspects, but it depends on how you use it. I-
Yep.
Uh,
Yeah.
but
And Tambi, what do you think?
I think it kind of depends, right? I feel like there's both sides of the coin. Like now, in terms of like all you guys, all of my friends, most of my friends, they. I'm just talking about Instagram here because I don't think we're using any other app as much. Like WhatsApp, yes, but that's for like basic communication interactions that replace
Yeah.
everyday talking in person. But if you think about, okay, what are people doing without actually having to message them? Instagram is the only app that all of us have been using. And I feel like most of my friends don't use Instagram or post on it regularly, including you guys.
Mm.
Like, you guys
Mm.
don't post about yourself. Like, Priya might post a few pictures of like his hikes and stuff, but nobody's posting about themselves unless and until it's like a big event. Or like I've
Yeah.
bought a
Yeah.
car, or like I've gotten married, or like I had a kid, or things like that. So I
You
feel
know that's
like
not
it
true about me. I post about the most random shit.
yeah, I'm saying like most of my friends. There's
Yeah.
some of y'all who do post a lot, but then there's most of my friends who like hardly post like at all. So it's still important to have that messaging and communication
Yep.
off of Instagram, but that's still through technology. So,
Yep.
that's still some sort of social interaction, which I wouldn't have had with you had there not been a smartphone.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have been able to talk to you, message you, anything had there not been Gmail or like email in general. So like technology has helped us in so many different ways. And I think like I met my husband on a dating app, which is also technology.
yeah,
So, it's like so many, and most like a lot of us, like, all of us are like nowadays are meeting people through dating apps and even like matrimonial apps. They're still apps and it's still
Yeah.
technology. So I feel like we're also limited in terms of our capabilities in general. Everything's moving to technology. So the things that we are doing today is all dependent on it. And that's how we're functioning. So it's like two sides. You still have to have that in person interaction, but there's many things you can't do in your regular life without technology.
Yeah. And like uh, for me, when I wanted to create podcasts, like if I didn't have this technology, if I didn't have a way to just get my friends online, friends who are worlds away, uh to just say, guys, I want to do this, and you guys are like, okay, let's do this, and the ability to just get everyone, share a link, that's it. This is the time. Although this has been
Yeah.
hard, like just finding the time, but
yeah,
Yeah.
just
But
getting
also
time
like
and
we
getting
talk
online.
at this time usually. So it was
Yeah.
at least easier than
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
than other people because we usually
Yeah.
talk during these 4 hours anyway. So it's
Yeah.
Easy
Yeah,
peasy.
and I think Pedro, like when you're trying to get a lot of people together, so maybe like if it's one-on-one, then it will be
Nice.
even easier. So
Yes. Anyway, cool. On that note, I'm gonna say goodbye. I'm gonna stop the recording now.